Welcome to another weekly Forex forecast. Traders, something significant has happened in the DXY. As we've been talking about the last couple weeks, we were thinking price could either pull back into this weekly rally-based rally area of demand, or we were just going to push straight up to the weekly supply at 110.66, which is also a monthly supply zone. Now, we haven't pulled back down to that zone. It's still possible we do. However, all signs are really pointing to the upside, and something significant has happened on the DXY. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. On the daily time frame, we talked about this in last week's Forex forecast, I believe, where price was kind of down here, maybe a couple forecasts ago. And price was down here. I was saying maybe this kind of looks like the valley before the higher high, which would then give us that very nice looking upward trend line. So now that we have this daily upward trend and very clean and consistent looking upward trend line, what I will say is that this looks to me like sustainable strength. When we have a move up like this, sure, it looks strong. I'm sure it looks strong on the lower time frames. Even when we kind of go down like this, it looks strong, but when we get a clear valley and a higher high and the ability to draw an actual trend line, not just some momentum, and we have an actual trend, to me, that is more sustainable energy, I guess you could say. I know it's maybe a weird terminology, but it's more sustainable energy to keep that trend going to the upside on the DXY. So that is what I am seeing. However, on the 4-hour time frame, it does look like we are potentially pulling back, and I'm not too concerned about it because we do have a pretty nice rally-based rally demand at 107.13. So I think we could pull back down in that zone and rally up to the upside. Just because we have a daily trend to the upside now doesn't mean we won't get pullbacks like this, and a lot of the times price needs to pull back to demand in an uptrend to kind of just, it's kind of like a pit stop. We need to, if the banks want to push price up higher, they need to push price lower, stop all the people out, acquire more longs specifically at demand before they push price up again. So overall, to me, it looks like the DXY is looking nothing but strong. I think we are most likely headed to the 110 and maybe even higher. We'll have to see when price gets there. But in my opinion, as long as this 4-hour trend and the daily trend is holding, all signs are pointing to the upside here on the DXY. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar. As you guys can see here, we clearly broke on the weekly chart looking at, clearly broke below this area of support, and that's fine. I'm happy that happened. And right now there is clear profit margin. Not really a lot of demand to stop price here at 0.99. So I think we could easily push price down to there. Do I think we're just going to drop right down in one candle next week? No, that's actually the Christmas holidays coming up. So it's going to be pretty slow price action coming up the next couple weeks. However, I think we could easily push back down to that weekly area of demand on the Euro US dollar. Now, unlike the US dollar, we have had a daily trend, a significant one. And now that we have the DXY uptrend to make it better, this is going to make that daily trend even stronger on the Euro US dollar. So beautiful downward trend. We are getting held up by demand that's from a while ago from back here. We've already got a reaction off of it though a couple weeks ago, and that was a couple weeks ago. Anyways, we've already seen a reaction off of it, so it's a second test. I am expecting price to continue to go down. How do we go about and trade the Euro US dollar at this time? Well, if you look here on the 4-hour chart, we haven't broken this low here. So I want you guys to map out that low of price. If we break that low down here, at that point, that means we will most likely have an H4 downtrend, which means you could be day trading a 15-minute time frame short, however you like to trade. In my opinion, that's the best bet. Sure, you could make a... It's just actually not looking too bad. Now that I look at this again, sorry guys, I had a procedure at the hospital today. I haven't really looked at the charts too much. To me, this is looking like a downward trend. I still want you guys to map out this low here, and that would make the downward trend even stronger. But honestly, I am seeing a clear peak and valley here and a downward trend. In my opinion, it's looking pretty good. Again, I would like to see that low removed to really solidify that downward trend. But look, as long as this trend line's holding, 15-minute time frame shorts are going to be good, and nice little drop-based drop supply 1.047. I think we easily could see a move off of that supply zone as well. And as always guys, if you don't feel comfortable just with a short stop loss above and take profit below, that's fine. What you could do is wait for the zone to be hit, go down to a 15-minute chart or even a 5-minute chart if you want to get more aggressive, and you could look for new supply zones being formed on those time frames and get a confirmation entry trade off of that 4-hour supply zone. So to kind of re-summarize here, all signs are pointing to the downside on the euro. Beautiful 4-hour downtrend. I didn't even realize it. Usually you want to see the lower move, but it's fine. It's a good enough trend in my opinion. So have that trend line on your chart, have that low, have this supply zone, and in my opinion, I think they're great areas to look for shorts here on the euro US dollar. On to the forecast for gold. We will do a top-down approach here on the weekly time frame. We have a beautiful weekly trend to the upside. We are pulling back. However, we are pushing back up. We are pretty much just going sideways here. Will it be going up or will it be going down? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below on gold. Now, on the daily chart, this is where things get a little bit tricky. We had this daily demand down below 25.80. We came so close to hitting it. So I will say it is possible price pulls back, contacts this demand, and then rallies up first. But when price comes so close to a demand zone like this and starts to rally up, it is a tricky time to be trading in my opinion. So we're going to have to go down to the lower time frames. Over here on the 1-hour chart, we had a beautiful supply zone. We had a clear resistance area right here, right below the supply zone, which is what I like because all of these support and resistance traders are seeing this resistance. Stop losses are here. And then our supply zone is right above. And we are already seeing a reaction off of that zone to the downside. So hopefully this zone can work out. What I will say is if you are a day trader with this 1-hour supply and control, you could be looking for 5-minute time frame shorts now on the 5-minute time frames. That's really all I'm seeing as far as what's close to price. You could easily target this low or even lower because if we continue to go down, it's most likely we're headed down to that daily demand zone that I was just talking about there in gold. Now, if we break above that, we will have a pretty nice 1-hour trend, and any 1-hour supply there or 1-hour demand there, we could maybe look for longs off of, but that'll be for another video. But in the meantime, supply zones in control, 1-hour chart. If that's your higher time frame, the 5-minute entries are going to be fine to the downside with that 1-hour supply zone in control. If we do get a decent pullback to the upside, there is another supply zone at 26.80 that I think we could see a move off of as well. But like I said, the daily demand is so close to it. We didn't quite hit it. It is possible we do pull back down to that daily zone, and then we could switch to longs at that point. But in the meantime, I don't mind that 1-hour supply zone short trade. And like I said, if it does get removed, then okay, maybe we could switch to longs. Maybe we could say, hey, I think that daily demand is pretty much in control. Now I want to get in long to continue to trade higher here on gold. On to the forecast for the USDJPY. Just like the DXY, we have a beautiful, sustainable daily trend to the upside. This one's actually even better as we went even lower. This is a picture-perfect looking trend line. If your mentor or whoever you're watching has trend lines all over the place, you got to be careful. In my opinion, this is a clear trend line. This wouldn't be a trend line there. This is a very clear and sustainable trend to the upside at this time. However, we have to be careful with that because on the weekly time frame, we are back into that weekly supply. This is a weekly supply zone we've called out the past couple weeks there, and now we have pushed right back into it again. We have pushed up even higher, and it looks like it's kind of a fake out, but honestly, with that dollar strength, I think we could see all-time highs in the USDJPY, at least, definitely in 2025, not in the next couple weeks, in my opinion, but I think that's where we're going. I think the supply will be removed because we've already seen a reaction off of it. So we have to be cautious of that supply zone in control, but I don't mind continuing to look for longs. 1, because the supply zone is tested. 2, because the daily trend is to the upside and is looking really strong. So what I'd be doing is I'd pretty much be solely focused over here on this 4-hour chart. So I have a pretty nice 4-hour trend to the upside. This isn't really the trend here. It's more of the overall bigger picture trend. However, longs are going to be fine. As long as this demand zone is holding, 15-minute time frame longs are going to be good. And pullbacks down to the 155.23 area at that rally demand zone at the 4-hour chart, I think it's a decent area to look for a potential long trade. It's a beautiful rally. Nice move away from that zone. You easily could target the opposing high here. You could even let a winner run if the trade does work out, maybe 25% of your position. So I think it's a good area to look for longs. As always, confirmation and here on a lower time frame. If that makes you feel better, you could also, be doing that as well. I don't really mind that whole idea. And that's really all I'm seeing at this time. On the USDJPY, we don't have a weekly trend, but with the daily trend, 4-hour trend, I think it's looking good for longs, especially if you're day trading and as long as this daily trend line is holding. On to the forecast for the British pound, the GBPUSD. We talked about this weekly chart last week and how the trend line's technically still holding. I was hoping for a pullback up to supply on the weekly chart so we can maybe see a move to the downside, but does not look like that is taking place, especially since now on the daily chart here, we have broken that low today at the time of recording this video, which has given us that daily downtrend we were pretty much looking for. So with that being said, I think shorts all the way here on the pound. Even if we do break to the upside, we have a clear area of resistance right before a base drop daily supply at 1.28. I think it's a great area to look for shorts at. So have that one on your charts as well. Have that daily downward trend line. It's shorts all the way as long as that daily downward trend line is holding. Now, I always give both sides of the equation, right? If you're bullish, some people are going to come into this video saying, oh, FX Telepath, I want to buy the pound. Where is he saying to buy the pound? The only area I would buy the pound at are these two areas of demand here on the 1 hour time frame. I'm not even saying I would do that. I do prefer shorts to trade with that daily downward trend. However, if I was going to get in long, this would be the zone right there at 1.25. If not, the one lower, kind of the origin of the move at 1.251 would also be suitable as well. So we have a demand zone here that removed not only a downward trend line, but also a supply zone. And then we have the origin of that move that broke the supply zone and the downward trend line. So two decent little 1 hour demand zones there that we could be looking for long trades off of if you are bullish, if you think that daily downward trend is going to continue. And as always, you could look for 5-minute time frame confirmation in there, and that will be something we will be doing in the daily market breakdown videos as well. If you want to trade alongside myself and the community, join the Diamond membership for exclusive access to our daily market breakdown videos and catch trades like these. Plus, dive deep with our full-length forecasts covering 26 plus markets, our interactive Sunday Zoom sessions, and personal homework to sharpen your strategy. And you'll also join our private Discord group for direct access to me and unlock a complete library of A to Z video lessons to master supply and demand trading. Don't miss out. Let's level up your trading. Links are in the description down below. So like I said, it's counter trend. So the confirmation in these zones on the day trading timeframes would make more sense in my opinion. Now, if you want to trade along with the trend, I need you guys to draw this trend line on your charts. Of course, if you're a member, you will get my charts, this chart link with this trend line on it and everything. Have this downward trend line on your chart. It's a beautiful downward trend. As long as this downward trend line is holding, 15-minute time frame shorts are going to be completely fine. Not only that, we have a rally base drop supply zone. It's not the best base I've ever seen, but that is a supply zone with a great move away. So this is a decent area to look for a short trade as well at 1.262. So the great 4-hour supply zone, beautiful downward trend. It is shorts all the way, guys, 100%. If you want to get in long, like I said, the 1 hour zones there are fine, but it's definitely a little risky. I mean, we do have a weekly trend, but with the trend line so tested, in my opinion, and the fact that we have a daily downward trend line that just formed, I think all signs are pointing to the downside. So I do prefer shorts over longs, but I could see a reason for both at this time. And remember, if you are going to get in long at those zones, it is certainly better to look to take profit earlier, where if you are going to be shorting at this supply zone, you could really justify holding the trade as long as you can and even bumping your stop loss up and letting winners run. On to the forecast for the USDCAD. This is the country that I live in. Let me know where you guys are from or where you're currently living from or where you're currently living. Let me know in the comments down below. So on the weekly chart here, beautiful trends to the upside, looking really good. Are we due for a pullback? Yeah, technically based off the look. Daily trend is looking good as well. We do have a daily supply zone that's from way long ago that's almost irrelevant at this point at 1.44. This is currently holding up price at the time of recording this video. So it's looking strong. However, we are seeing some weakness on the 1 hour time frame here. We actually have a 1 hour downward trend line and downward trend. So that is significant. However, this 1 hour demand zone is holding. This was a trade we caught in the daily market breakdown video as well, I believe. And with this 1 hour downward trend, it pretty much meets the criteria of a counter trend trade. If the weekly chart's trending up, the daily chart's trending up, the 1 hour chart's trending up, the 4 hour chart they're all trending up, you don't really want to be shorting the 1 hour time frame or be day trading short. However, if one of those time frames has a downtrend, right? So the next stage would be the 1 hour. This is the 1 hour chart right here. The 1 hour trend line is up. All of a sudden it goes sideways. That's phase one. Then all of a sudden it goes to a downtrend. That is the criteria, the minimum criteria we would need to trade counter trend. And we have that at this point. So if you are bearish, if you think, hey, we're absolutely due for a pullback on the USDCAD, we have the criteria. Draw this trend line, connect it from here to here. We made a lower low. That's why it's a trend line. Have this trend line. If that trend line's holding, 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be good. I wouldn't go any higher. I would not go to a 15-minute. I would stay on the 5-minute and a 1-minute chart only. And I would definitely pick the 5-minute chart over the 1-minute chart, but I'm saying 5-minute chart max. As soon as that trend line is broken, if it is, at that point we need to hold off on shorts. I will also be monitoring this trend line as well. If it breaks and we are left with a 1 hour demand zone there, we certainly can look for a long trade there to continue to trade with that overall trend. So with that 1 hour downward trend line, shorts, like I said, are decent. However, if you want to trade with the trend, we have beautiful trend to the upside. We have a nice rally-based rally with a beautiful move away. Nice move off of it so far. I pointed this one out to the members on Thursday night, I believe, and letting that trade work out at this point. In the meantime, what you could be doing is with the 4 hour demand and control, 5-minute and 15-minute time frame longs are going to be good. So as long as that zone's holding, you could be looking for longs on both of those time frames here on the USDCAD to continue to trade with the daily and the weekly trend to the upside. All right, onto the forecast for the AUDUSD. The past week we did break this weekly area of demand here. I wasn't too concerned about it anyways, but if you look at my dotted lines here, this is overall monthly demand, but look how much trading action has taken place at this monthly demand. When that much action takes place at an area, it doesn't cause me too much concern if we were going to be shorting here, because we've seen so many times it's hit that zone. Let's say it's a fresh zone like this and we pull back into it for the first time. Shorting is going to be very risky, but at this point, especially breaking a weekly zone within the monthly zone, in my opinion, it does look like we're going to be going lower in the Aussie. Not only that, we have a pretty decent daily downward trend line here. Not my favorite trend line, not my favorite price action right there to give us that second point, but it is what it is. And at this point, I would say we do have a daily downward trend. So it is looking weak in my opinion. I would be pretty much focused on this 4 hour time frame here. We actually have an updated trend line here that I need to update right there. So that is a nice downward trend line. I need you guys to draw that on your charts. It's going to be important because as long as that's holding, 15-minute time frame shorts are going to be good. As soon as well, give me a second, actually, I'll talk about that in a second. But so 15-minute time frame shorts are good as long as that downward trend line is holding. Not only that, we have a beautiful drop-based drop area of supply at 0.63. I think if we do pull up to that, we could see a move off of it. If it's right around, if let's say we go back here, then we break the trend line, that's fine as well. I usually like to trade a zone within the trend line, something like that. But like I said, even if we break the trend line and then react off of it, I think it's still fine. So that's our supply zone for shorts. Watch this downward trend line. As long as that's holding, shorts are fine as well in a day trading time frame. Now let's say we break above this supply and the daily downward trend line. If we have a 4 hour zone there, that could qualify us for a counter trend setup. That's probably not going to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen. If it does, could take a bit, especially since the next couple of weeks, not going to be too much price action going on. So I would just be hyper focused on this 4 hour time frame. Shorts up there at supply are fine. Watch the downward trend line, and then if we remove that, then okay. We have to admit we were wrong on our bias, and then we can maybe look for a potential long trade on the Aussie US dollar. Alrighty, onto the forecast for the USDCHF. Starting off with the weekly chart, we did pull back up into this weekly supply zone. Pierce right above it. I don't want to call this removed. It's not looking great. I wouldn't say, wow, this supply zone is really looking great. We can definitely, looking for shorts is going to be fantastic. I'm not saying that. I don't like when price pierces above that. I just don't want to call that removed just yet. So we do have that weekly supply in control. However, we do have a pretty nice daily upward trend line. We have this supply zone from back here being respected as well. So this could be a sign. Maybe we pull all the way back down to daily demand at 0.866. where we can then look for a potential long trade. But until we break this trend line, I am not going to predict that we will be pulling back down to there. But if we do break the trend line, then that's most likely where we are headed. So I will say for now, as long as this daily trend line is holding, longs are going to be fine. If we break this daily supply zone, any daily demand zone there could be great for a potential swing trade if we get that. And remember, I will have that on the charts for myself and for all of the members. If you are bearish, which again, I'm not super bearish, but if you are, we do have a semi-decent drop-based drop supply at 0.894 on the 1 hour time frame. We could see maybe a move off of that. And you should also be drawing this downward trend line and monitoring that as well. As long as that downward trend line is holding, 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be good. If we break that, that would be the best case scenario where we break the supply and the downward trend line, and we can maybe get in long at that 1 hour demand zone if we get that price action. That's what I'd be looking for. And why I prefer that is because the daily trend is up. Yeah, the daily trend is up, so you could technically be looking for shorts because we have a 1 hour downtrend. Ultimately, with the daily trend to the upside, I want to be getting in long, but until on the 1 hour chart, until we can break the supply and the downward trend line, longs are going to be a little bit risky in my opinion. Not risky, but just it's kind of a weird situation. On the 4 hour chart, we easily could be pulling back down to this fresh demand zone at 0.889. Might not look fresh, but we just barely missed it. So I think that's a decent area to look for a potential long trade there as well. And confirmation on day trading timeframes could also be good there in the USDCHF. Last but not least, we are on to the forecast for crude oil. Beautiful downward trend line on the weekly chart. Not really getting that pull up like I really wanted to. And why I want to see a pull up is because we have that fresh daily supply zone at 74.70, right above a clear area of resistance. I definitely think we could see a move off of that supply zone if we do get up to there. In the meantime, the only thing I'm really seeing on this 1 hour time frame here, we have a 1 hour downward trend line, 1 hour downward trend. As long as this downward trend line is holding, you could be looking for shorts on a 15-minute chart. We do have a fresh supply zone on the 1 hour chart as well. It's 70.72. It's not a bad zone. I would prefer to trade at that zone rather than just be shorting right now. So I would be looking to be patient and wait for that 1 hour supply zone to get in control. On the 4 hour chart, we are just kind of ping-ponging here. We got a beautiful move, off of that demand zone there down below. We called this one out a while ago back in the start of December, or actually back in November when this zone was created. We called out that zone. Beautiful trade from that zone. Now we had another zone here, called this one out as well, and we called out the supply zone. So on oil, it's been pretty much perfect price action according to our strategy. So make sure you go back and watch all the forecasts so you can see the evidence of that. I don't like to just say things without evidence. It's all there. I never delete any forecasts. So right now we are basically ping-ponging between supply and demand. So if for shorts, if we can remove this supply zone, demand zone, any supply zone there, we could look for a short trade off of. For longs, if we can remove that supply, we will actually have a 4 hour trend to the upside. Then you could look for maybe longs on a 15-minute or a 5-minute time frame. That'd be a little bit better. But as far as the 4 hour chart goes here, we have supply being respected and demand being respected. Both of them are tested, so we don't want to be trading at them. So there's no setups at all at this time. We need to either wait for supply to be removed or for demand to be removed to give us that clear direction. Now with the weekly downward trend still being respected, I am expecting price to fall and break demand. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? I could be wrong. We actually could be breaking up with the bank's ideas. Maybe, hey, we want to push price up to the daily supply and then look for shorts, right? So at this point, for trading right now, I would be monitoring this 1 hour downward trend line, be looking for shorts maybe at 70, 72 would be fine. And then for future trading, we want to be, not futures, but like just for the future, we want to be watching this 4 hour range and see if we can break out of it to the upside or the downside, and then we want to be trading accordingly. But remember, the weekly trend is down. Even if we do start to pull up, we have a daily supply zone that's fresh and high probability, in my opinion, that we need to break first. If you guys want to watch the full length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.